Hello and welcome in this video of the Tibetan refugees. In this video we are going to talk about the Tibetan refugees who have been displaced from their own homeland because of the oppression and exploitation of China. They are scattered over Nepal and India, and they are residing in India and the Nepal as the refugees. Majority of the Tibetan refugees are residing in India. They have established their government in exile in India, Dharamsala in Himachal Pradesh, but still they have not left the path of non-violence. Still they spread the message of the non-violence and the peaceful settlement of every dispute. The 14th Dalai Lama, who is also known as Tenzin Gyatso, he spread the message of the non-violence, and still at the age of 84 years, he is hopeful that a time will come when he and his all followers of the Tibetan people who are residing in India as a refugee will return and go back to their own homeland, the Tibet. But their hope is disappearing day by day as he is getting older and as the Tibetan people are mixing with the Indian culture and the tradition. So the Tibetan people are very unique in the sense that still they believe in the non-violence and they want to return back into their own homeland, and their homeland is under the subjugation of a foreign country, China. The China is a country who is actually ruling over Tibet, and still they hope to return into their own homeland by following the process of peace, compromise, and the non-violence. So the Tibetan refugees are very unique, and we are going to talk in a detailed manner about the Tibetan refugees in India who are residing in India. So if we talk about the data based on the CTA, Central Tibetan Authority, it is the data of 2009, around 127,935 Tibetan refugees are registered as the refugees. In India, 94,203 refugees are residing. In Nepal, 13,514 refugees are residing. But majority of the refugees have been residing in India, and they have also established their government of exile in India. They are residing in Himachal Pradesh in the place called Dharamsala under the guidance of their spiritual leader Dalai Lama, who is known as the 14th Dalai Lama. Now if we talk about the map, the location of Tibet, actually the Tibet is called a buffer state between India and China. The whole in the map, you can see the yellow part. This yellow part is known as the Tibet, and it was never a part of China. The Tibet was a sovereign country, but it was annexed and included because of the expansionist design of China. So China followed an imperialistic policy towards Tibet, and it annexed Tibet in its own territory following the policy of expansion during the time of Mao Zedong. So this yellow part is treated as Tibet. Now in the present time, Tibet is the autonomous area. It is already included into the China. So in China, the Tibet is called the autonomous area. But the spiritual leader of Tibet, that is called the 14th Dalai Lama, he is residing in India, and he opposed the policy of China, and he is hopeful that through peaceful means, through following the process of non-violence, the solution of the Tibetan problem will definitely come out, and a time will come when all the Tibetan people will go back into their own homeland. Now the reasons behind the Chinese attack. Why suddenly China attacked Tibet? Actually, even since the beginning of the independence of China, China under Mao Zedong followed the policy of expansionist design towards Tibet. Even since the independence of China in the year 1949 under the leadership of Mao Zedong, China followed the policy of imperialism. China attacked Tibet, annexed Tibet, and did the policy of oppression on the Tibetan people. The Tibetan people are treated as a non-violent people. They are actually Tibet is a land of spirituality where majority of the people believe in the non-violence. The Tibetan soldiers were very weak. They were poor in terms of their military equipment. The number of the soldiers in Tibet was also very low. And in this reason, it is for this reason that China under Mao Zedong attacked Tibet, and it decided to annex the Tibet into its own area. Now this is the first reason behind the Chinese attack on Tibet. The second reason is that the China attacked Tibet because of its rich resources available in the land. Actually, the Tibet is called the roof of the world. It has one of the highest amount of the minerals, and the natural beauty of the Tibet is also very high. The third most important reason is that the China wanted to become a hegemonic power in Asia through its imperialist and expansionist design, and conquest of Tibet was its beginning. China decided to follow the policy of imperialism towards Tibet. The Tibetan refugees came in India in three different stages. So the first stage was started in the year 1959 when, following the footsteps of the 14th Dalai Lama, also known as Tenzin Gyatso, around 80,000 Tibetan refugees had taken their refuge in India. So the year of 1959 is called the first wave of the arrival of the Tibetan refugees into India. Because of the large-scale exploitation and the human rights violation and the oppression, the 14th Dalai Lama, Tenzin Gyatso, had to take refuge into India, and they had to leave their own homeland. Actually, in the year of 1959, the Chinese soldiers called Dalai Lama into their military camp alone, and this generated a fear of suspicion into the leaders of Tibet, and they advised the 14th Dalai Lama to take refuge into the another country. And as India was the neighboring country of Tibet, so Dalai Lama took refuge in India in order to save themselves from the Chinese oppression and attack. Actually, it is also believed that it was the plan of the Chinese military soldiers to kill Dalai Lama in order to weaken the protest in Tibet. So the year of 1959 is treated as the first wave of the arrival of the Tibetan refugees into India. Now the second wave of the Tibetan refugees started in the early 1980s when China began to destroy the Tibetan monasteries and the Tibetan culture. It also started destroying the Tibetan monasteries and their culture, their libraries. All the majority of the libraries of the Tibetan were either burnt or it was destroyed. Majority of the books of the Tibetan culture were destroyed and burnt. So it was during this time, even so many monks were also killed in the Tibet because by the Chinese forces. So it was the time of the early 1980s when the second wave of the arrival of the Tibetan refugees started in India. And the third one is the present arrival of the Tibetan refugees into India. Still, even many Tibetan people enter into the territory of India in order to take the blessing of the Dalai Lama and to save themselves from the oppression of the Chinese forces. The picture of Dalai Lama is banned. If any family is found keeping the picture of Dalai Lama and worshipping him, he will be persecuted and he will be even no more. He will be killed by the Chinese forces. So because of the oppression and exploitation of the Chinese forces, even in the present time also, majority of the Tibetan people take their refuge in India. In one of the press conference, a Chinese leader also expressed his opinion that the China want the land of Tibet, not the people of Tibet. And this is the clear expression that how the Chinese forces are doing the human rights violations over the region of Tibet.